Get ready, INTJs. I'm going to gas you up. This is me allowing myself to speak freely as a high TE user. And for those of you who are more used to the gentler side, this is more akin to how I am naturally. Lastly, I'm keeping this video short because I could talk endlessly about any of those points. And if you want to hear more about it, then let me know in the comment section whether I should go deeper. All right, with that said, let's begin. The first reason why I love being an INTJ is because the world is ours to shape however we want. If we can imagine it, then it could be done. It's as simple as that. We see the world as Lego blocks that we could build to our imagination. Nothing is unachievable. Something as ridiculous as immortality seems achievable to some INTJs. I know it's a hyperbole, but who knows? We also see patterns so naturally that we can somewhat guess the future, which makes it easy to avoid participating in things that have no future. And having extroverted thinking as our auxiliary function means that we can understand the system that we're participating in. So don't really have to guess whether we're doing something right or wrong. It's more whether we want to participate in the way that they intend for us to participate. Our FI is like, I'm going to be different. I'm going to do it my own way and still do well. It's the rebellious factor in an INTJ. We're not going to do it your way because we think it's dumb or not exciting. And what we're going to do is going to be so amazing that you can't deny our brilliance. The world is ours to shape and build however we want. The world is our playground. The second thing that I love about being an INTJ is that I love how capable I am. How this is different from number one is that a person can see the world as their playground, but not have the capability to shape it. That's not us. I wouldn't call it confidence because there are idiots out there that are super confident and never succeed. I also wouldn't call it intelligence, but the ability to be intelligent in almost anything. We're capable as in, if I want to be the smartest person in the room, I will study nonstop until I am. If I want to be the best at sports, then I will practice day in and day out until I am. If I want to be the most social person in the room, I will learn from every actor, comedian, or every playwright or public speaker until I am that person. Nothing gets in the way of an INTJ when we're determined because determination plus capability equals success. Nothing in life feels unsolvable. It's just whether we want to spend our energy on it. And an INTJ isn't a damsel in distress waiting for a hero to come save us because we're already out there doing the work, becoming the hero that everyone was waiting for. One of my favorite quotes to summarize this portion is by an INTJ queen, Ayn Rand, when she was quoted saying, "The question isn't who's going to let me. The question is who's going to stop me." The third thing that I love about being an INTJ is that I love that I'm self-motivated. We are our biggest cheerleaders. I don't need an external source telling me that my plan is achievable because I already know that it is because I'm working on it. If someone else is working my plan, then it probably won't work out. But like I said earlier, I'm capable of anything. In our own world, INTJs aren't side characters or extras. We're the main characters. Whether we're the main hero or the main villain, we have big dick energy, regardless of whether other people believe in us or not. A lot of the times, we're not motivated by external praise. We're not worried about souring relationships, although we should put more emphasis on maintaining those relationships because that's how we get lonely at the top. And we use negative comments as fuel to prove that we're capable. We care more about getting things done. We care about being the best version of ourselves because one of the scariest things for an INTJ isn't how we're perceived by other people, because honestly, that's one of the last things we think about, but instead that we haven't lived up to the standards that we know we're capable of. The scariest thing is not knowing how limitless we are. The next thing that I love is that I'm my biggest project. That means I could be anything and anyone that I want, within reason. Out of respect and certain societal standards of my loved ones, I tend to display more of a certain side of myself than others, but that doesn't mean I'm not constantly testing. And those tests can range from anything such as something small and insignificant, such as being able to hold my breath underwater for 10 more seconds, being able to ride a unicycle, or just waking up earlier in the day, all the way to climbing the corporate ladder and becoming the boss, or becoming a better parent by being more understanding and more empathetic to my child. Growth for an INTJ is inevitable. We are constantly evolving and becoming an updated version of ourselves, not only because life happens, but because we pick and choose who we want to become. If I'm not happy with who I am today, then it's time to change. Change also doesn't mean that I'm not happy with myself either. It just means that I saw something or thought of another way to approach life that I want to try out. And if I could try it out, why not? And I know that people who actually care about me will have to accept it. To quote a Catholic ENFJ friend of mine, When I asked her if she would still be my friend if I was a Satan worshiper, she responded with, "Jonathan, I don't really understand you, but I know you're a good person, and that's all that matters." Find people who will allow you to grow. The next thing that I love about being an INTJ is the ability to manipulate people so easily. I want to start the section off by saying that we can, but we usually don't, because Auntie FI. If INTJs didn't have Auntie, then an INTJ would be synonymous to a mental disorder, which it already kind of feels like it is. I know I usually talk about the negative side of being an NI-DOM, but one of our superpower that I try not to abuse is our ability to choose other people's realities. INTJs are experts on constructing and manipulating our public image to control narratives. We are masters at incepting ideas into someone and making it seem random or making it seem as if they thought of it themselves. We primarily align our image with societal expectations so that we can be left alone. So a lot of the time it's used for like self-preservation, but sometimes it's about control. And quick disclaimer for INTJs out there that are watching this video wanting to comment in this section. Remember that the internet is forever, so keep things vague because you don't want anything you post to hurt you in the future. The beauty of INTJ manipulation is that some people will never know until it's too late. We're the dumb guy in the horror movie that ends up being the serial killer because no one suspects us to be the mastermind. We're the main girl in the movie Gone Girl that ended up in a happy relationship after they found her again when she purposely planned on becoming missing and blackmailing her husband. I see lots of people online say that they wish they met an INTJ, and the truth is, they probably already have. Because when an INTJ masters the top 4 functions, we are everyone, and we are everywhere, constructing and manipulating our public image to build the reality that we want. The next thing I love about being an INTJ is that I never really get bored. I can honestly say that I could count on both hands how many times I've been bored in my life when I'm alone. Like, it's easy to be bored when I'm around other people or doing things that I don't want, but it's very difficult to be bored when I'm by myself. My mind is always thinking about something, and I didn't realize how uncommon it is until after I started talking to people about how much they think, or the lack of how much they think in comparison. Papa introvert intuition loves to think about everything and anything, and when it runs out of SE sensory data to think about, or when it runs out of TE things to fix, or FI issues, it starts thinking about thought itself. And for those of you who aren't intuitive DOMs, boy, thinking about thought itself is a never-ending process. It is limitless in the amount of thoughts that can be put into thinking about thoughts. I personally usually stop because it gets exhausting, because the deeper I get, the more questions I have, and the more out of touch with reality I get. This is one of the reasons why I love extroverted thinking, because this is when mama extroverted thinking busts in a room and tells Papa and I to get out of bed because there are dishes to do, there's homework to do in a few days, or whatever task that needs to get done. An INTJ could go days or weeks without talking to a single person, and this is the reason why. Our mind is so active, and when we're back in reality, we're usually working on our project. So it's difficult to be bored because there's always something to think about, or just something to do, a project to work on, or something to accomplish. An INTJ is okay being by ourselves. The next thing I love about being an INTJ is that I love how drama-free my life is. An INTJ's life is typically drama-free. Yes, we have issues with people, but I see issues different from drama because issues could be fixed and drama seems to be ongoing or something like that. See, I'm so drama-free, I'm not even sure how to describe it. One benefit of having TE higher than FI in a function stack is that we're not afraid of saying what needs to be said in a certain way that's clear. We will say something if we don't like it. We prefer to confront issues rather than sweep it under the rug. And we're not afraid of being hated if we speak our truth. Because how can someone be upset at something that we can't control, such as feelings, if we approach the issue in a collaborative manner? How this is specifically an INTJ trait is to compare it to an ISTJ who has TE and FE in the same slot order as us. Their function stack leads with introverted sensing, and SI has a sense of duty to it. If there's drama and the ISTJ is a part of it, they feel compelled to be part of the drama after their approach to fix the issue is ignored. As an INTJ, you are not my responsibility. Unless you are. My boundaries have been set, and it's up to you whether you want to meet me in the middle or stay upset, because I ain't got time for that. Again, INTJs are willing to be labeled the villain if that means maintaining our peace. And this is assuming that the INTJ isn't the problem, because if the INTJ is the problem, then the INTJ has a lot of learning and maturing to do. The last thing that I love about being an INTJ is that I can see people for who they are and not how they want to be seen. I think this characteristic is a result of being an NI Dom because I hear INFJs talk about it all the time. INTJs not so much because it's not along the line of topics that we care to talk about. I hear a lot of people say that they're great at reading people, but they're not. It's either a lot of projections, not being able to read between the lines, or just blatantly ignoring all the red flags. TE Doms project their own insecurities because they haven't accepted a certain aspect of themselves. SI Doms will accept what people say at face value when there's obviously a hidden meaning. And FI Doms are more willing than other types to ignore in-your-face red flags as long as that person sounds passionate or very convincing. As an NI Dom, we also focus on what's not being said, and most importantly, why it's being said. Because the why, the perspective behind something, is everything. I have an urge or a need to understand the person that I'm talking to if there's someone that I want to know. All their wants, their needs, their desires, superpowers, and flaws. I want all that data, not so that I could judge them. It's actually the opposite. It's so that I can admire them for who they really are. Everyone is a blank canvas when I initially meet them, and they slowly paint this picture through all their words and actions. Everything I learn about them is a new stroke or brush that eventually builds this masterpiece to admire. And I know what I'm going to say next isn't very INTJ, but I eventually sense a person's aura. The more I know someone, the more I get this sense of feeling when I'm around them that has this unique, intangible texture to it. I don't know what to call it, but I can sense the aura, which kind of sounds like extrovert feeling. Am I describing extrovert feeling, guys? Am I evolving? All right, that's enough TE for this video. Let's get back to extroverted feeling. I wrote a poem about being an INTJ, and that's how I'm going to end this video. It's called The Architects of Tomorrow. So thank you for watching my video. I know it was really short. I went over a lot, but again, leave a comment below on one of the topic if you want it discussed even more. Thank you for watching my video. I appreciate it. Bye. Innovation doesn't wait for permission. It thrives on courage. It's born from the dreamers who refuse to be confined by the limits of others' expectation, and it comes from those who dream without limits. Those who rise from the pits of defeat and pushes forward, even when the weight of criticism tries to bury you. It's for those who dare to dream beyond what is visible. For those who takes hits of criticism and still climb their way back to the top. It's for the ones who, when faced with a choice between the known and the unknown, walk straight through uncertainty, trusting their own vision, rejecting the beaten path, and instead determined to carve a path of their own. For those who work tirelessly in the shadows, driven by passion rather than praise, with steadfast focus and boundless resolve, pursuing their vision until their dream turns into tangible realities. The dreamers are us, the INTJs. We are the ones who build without boundaries, the one who dreams with precision, and the ones who execute with unwavering resolve. We turn dreams into reality, and we will never stop building towards a new world. We are the INTJs. We are the architects of tomorrow.
Because the future is a concept. It doesn't exist. As the proverb says, tomorrow never comes.